If you do not choose yourself now, then not when life becomes easier, not when people finally understand you, not when everything falls into place. Because that moment rarely comes. Most people spend their entire lives waiting, adjusting, giving more than they receive, until one day they wake up and realize they no longer recognize who they are. They call it patience. They call it kindness. But in truth, it is the quiet abandonment of the self. Every time you ignore your own needs, every time you stay silent when you should speak, every time you accept less than you deserve, you move further away from the person you were meant to become. This does not happen all at once. It happens slowly, through small decisions repeated every day. So ask yourself honestly, how much of your life is truly yours? Because the moment you begin to choose yourself is the moment everything begins to change. You are not losing yourself all at once. You are losing yourself slowly, quietly, in ways that feel almost invisible at first. It does not happen in one dramatic moment. It happens through small decisions, repeated every day. Decisions that seem harmless, but slowly reshape who you are. Each time you say yes when you mean no. Each time you stay silent to keep the peace. Each time you choose comfort over truth. You move a little further away from yourself. At first, you tell yourself it is the right thing to do. You convince yourself that being agreeable is a form of strength, that enduring without complaint makes you a better person. But over time, something begins to shift inside you. You start to feel tired without knowing exactly why. You feel disconnected even when you are surrounded by people. You feel a quiet frustration that you cannot fully explain. This is not because life is unfair. It is because you have been slowly abandoning yourself. You were not meant to live as a reaction to others. Yet that is what happens when you place everyone else before your own needs and values. You begin to measure your actions based on how others will respond. You adjust your behavior to avoid conflict. You shape your identity around expectations that were never yours to begin with. The more you do this, the more you disappear. Not in a way that others notice immediately, but in a way that you feel deeply when you are alone. You begin to realize that you are living a life that feels distant from who you truly are. A life built on compromise rather than clarity. This is the cost of constantly putting yourself last. Many people mistake this pattern for kindness. They believe that giving more, sacrificing more, and asking for less is a sign of good character. But there is a difference between generosity and self-erasure. True strength does not require you to lose yourself. It requires you to stand firmly in who you are, without needing approval from others. When you ignore your own limits, when you allow others to take more than you can give, when you continue to tolerate what drains you, you are not being kind. You are teaching the world that your needs do not matter. And the world will accept that lesson without question. There is a quiet danger in tolerating too much. It does not feel like weakness in the moment. It feels like patience, like control, like maturity. But over time, it becomes a habit of self-neglect. You begin to accept situations that do not align with your values. You remain in environments that exhaust you. You maintain relationships that take more than they give. You tell yourself it is temporary, that things will improve, that it is easier to endure than to confront the truth. But every moment you stay where you do not belong, you reinforce the idea that you are not worth more. This is how people lose years of their lives without realizing it. At the same time, your energy begins to scatter. You give your attention to things that do not deserve it. You allow your focus to be pulled in every direction. You invest yourself in people and situations that offer no real return. You feel busy, but not fulfilled, active, but not aligned. This is because your energy is not guided by intention. It is controlled by habit and reaction. And when your energy is scattered, your life becomes scattered as well. You move without direction. You act without clarity. And you begin to feel like you are drifting rather than living. What makes this even more dangerous is that it feels normal. When you have lived this way for long enough, you no longer question it. You believe that this is simply how life works, that exhaustion is unavoidable, that dissatisfaction is part of being responsible, that losing yourself is the price you must pay to be accepted. But this is not truth. It is conditioning, and the longer you accept it, the harder it becomes to break free from it. There comes a moment when you must face something uncomfortable. No one is forcing you to live this way, not entirely. Yes, there are expectations, pressures, responsibilities. But at the center of it all, there are your choices, the choices to stay silent, to agree, to tolerate, to delay, to ignore what you know is not right for you. These choices are small, but they accumulate, and over time, they define the direction of your life. You cannot continue to abandon yourself and expect to feel whole. You cannot keep giving without limits and expect to feel respected. You cannot ignore your own voice and expect to feel clear. At some point, something must change. Not in the world around you, but in the way you relate to yourself. Because the moment you begin to see clearly how you have been losing yourself is the moment you create the possibility of finding your way back. Your life is not made of time. It is made of energy. And where your energy goes, your life follows. Most people believe they are exhausted because they are doing too much. But that is rarely the truth. They are exhausted because they are giving themselves to things that do not deserve them. They wake up already tired. Not because their body cannot handle the day, but because their mind has been scattered across too many unnecessary concerns, too many distractions, too many expectations that were never theirs to carry. This is what happens when your energy is not protected. It becomes available to everything, and eventually, it is consumed by everything. Energy is not just physical strength. It is your attention, your focus, your emotional capacity, your ability to be present and intentional. When you allow your attention to be constantly pulled in different directions, you weaken your ability to act with clarity. You start your day without direction. You react instead of deciding. You move from one thing to another without purpose. And by the end of the day, you feel like you have done a lot, but achieved very little. This is not a problem of time. It is a problem of misused energy. A disciplined life begins with disciplined attention. If you cannot control where your attention goes, you cannot control the direction of your life. Every distraction you entertain, every unnecessary thought you engage with, every situation you allow to occupy your mind without reason, it all takes something from you. And most of the time, you do not even notice it happening. You scroll, you compare, you overthink, you worry about things outside your control. And slowly, your energy is drained without producing anything meaningful in return. This is how people become busy, but not effective, active, but not fulfilled. Your environment plays a silent but powerful role in this. The people you surround yourself with, the conversations you engage in, the the spaces you spend your time in, all of these shape how your energy is used. If you are constantly around negativity, you will spend your energy reacting to it. If you are surrounded by distraction, you will find it difficult to focus. If you are in environments that do not challenge you, you will slowly lose your drive to improve. This is not about blaming your surroundings. It is about understanding their influence. A person who is serious about their life does not leave their environment to chance. They choose it carefully, because they understand that their energy will adapt to whatever surrounds them. There is also a deeper level to this: the energy you give to your thoughts. Many people are physically present, but mentally elsewhere, trapped in cycles of overthinking, replaying the past, imagining worst-case scenarios, creating problems that do not exist. This internal noise consumes more energy than any physical effort. You can sit still all day and still feel exhausted if your mind is constantly active in the wrong way. This is why controlling your thoughts is not just a mental exercise. It is an essential discipline. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every emotion deserves your reaction. The ability to observe without engaging is what protects your energy from being wasted. When your energy is scattered, your life becomes scattered. You lose clarity. You lose direction. You lose the ability to commit fully to anything. You start many things but finish very little. You feel potential within you but cannot access it consistently. This creates a quiet frustration, a sense that you are capable of more but unable to reach it. The truth is, your potential is not blocked. It is diluted. It is spread too thin across too many things that do not matter. To live with intention, you must become selective. Not everything deserves your time. Not everything deserves your attention. And certainly not everything deserves your energy. This requires discipline, because it means letting go of habits that feel comfortable but offer no real value. It means stepping away from constant stimulation, from unnecessary conversations, from patterns that keep you busy but not progressing. It means choosing depth over distraction, focus over noise, purpose over convenience. When you begin to protect your energy, something changes. Your mind becomes clearer. Your actions become more precise. Your decisions become more intentional. You no longer feel pulled in every direction. You begin to move with control. And with that control comes a sense of stability that most people never experience. Not because it is unavailable, but because they never learn to guard what matters most. Your energy is your life. If you waste it, your life will feel wasted. If you direct it with intention, your life will begin to take shape in a way that reflects who you truly are. The question is not whether you have enough energy. The question is where you are allowing it to go. You believe you lack discipline, but in truth, you lack decision. Most people do not fail because they are incapable. They fail because they keep negotiating with themselves. They delay what needs to be done. They soften their own standards. They create excuses that feel reasonable in the moment, but weaken them over time. Every time you say you will do something and then choose not to, you are not just avoiding a task. You are teaching yourself that your word has no weight, and once your word loses value to yourself, nothing else can remain stable. This negotiation is subtle. It does not appear as weakness at first. It appears as comfort, as flexibility, as giving yourself time. You tell yourself you will start tomorrow, that you deserve a break, that you will feel more ready later, but later becomes another delay, and another, until the habit of postponing replaces the habit of acting. You begin to trust your impulses more than your intentions. And your life starts to follow whatever feels easiest instead of what is right. A Stoic mind does not operate this way. It does not argue with itself endlessly. It decides. Once something is recognized as necessary, it is done without creating internal resistance. This is not because it is easy, but because it is clear. Clarity removes the need for negotiation. When you know what must be done, there is no benefit in debating it. The longer you hesitate, the more power you give to doubt. And doubt will always lead you away from action. Each small negotiation may seem insignificant, but they accumulate. One delay becomes a pattern. One excuse becomes a habit. And over time, you build a version of yourself that is unreliable, not to others, but to yourself. You begin to question your own intentions. You lose confidence in your ability to follow through. And this creates a quiet form of weakness that affects every area of your life. It is not a lack of ability. It is a lack of internal trust. The solution is not motivation. Motivation is unstable. It comes and goes. It depends on how you feel. If you rely on motivation, you will only act when conditions are favorable, and those moments are limited. What you need is commitment, a decision that does not change based on mood, on comfort, or on temporary emotion. When you decide something, it must become final in your mind, not something you will consider, but something you will do. This is where discipline begins, not in action, but in identity. You must become someone who does not break their own word, someone who does not negotiate with what they know is necessary. When you say you will do something, it is done, not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. This creates a level of internal order that most people never reach. And it is this order that leads to strength. There is also power in learning to say no, not just to others, but to yourself. No to distractions that pull you away from your focus. No to impulses that offer short-term comfort at the cost of long-term progress. No to habits that weaken your discipline. Every time you say no to what is easy, you reinforce your ability to choose what is right. And every time you say yes to what matters, even when it is difficult, you strengthen your control over your own life. Without this control, your life will always be inconsistent. You will start with intention and end with compromise. You will set goals and then slowly move away from them. You will know what is right, but fail to act on it. This creates a gap between who you are and who you could be. And that gap is filled with frustration. You feel capable, but unable to access that capability consistently. This is not a mystery. It is the result of constant negotiation. When you remove negotiation, something changes immediately. You stop asking yourself whether you feel like doing something, and you begin asking whether it needs to be done. This shift is simple, but powerful. It moves you from emotion to principle, from reaction to control. And once you begin to operate this way, your actions become more consistent, your mind becomes more stable, and your sense of direction becomes stronger. You do not need more time. You do not need more ability. You do not need better conditions. You need to stop making agreements with weakness, because every time you choose comfort over discipline, you move further away from the life you say you want. And every time you act despite discomfort, you move closer to it. You believe you are lost. But in truth, you are simply surrounded by too much noise. The modern world does not lack information. It suffers from excess, and that excess is what clouds your mind. You are constantly exposed to opinions, expectations, distractions, and endless input that never gives you the space to think clearly. Over time, this becomes your normal state, a mind that is always active but rarely focused, always occupied but rarely aware. And in that state, clarity becomes impossible. Most people are not confused because they lack answers. They are confused because they never create the conditions to hear them. They move from one distraction to another, from one voice to the next, without ever sitting in silence long enough to understand themselves. They seek direction outside, while ignoring the only place it can truly come from. And as a result, they remain uncertain, not because life is unclear, but because their mind is never still. Silence is not empty. It is revealing. When you remove noise, what remains is not nothing. It is truth. But this is also why many people avoid it. Because in silence, there is no distraction to hide behind. You are left alone with your thoughts, your patterns, your decisions, and the reality of your life. There is no escape, no external voice to guide or comfort you. Only you. And for many, that is uncomfortable, but discomfort is necessary. A mind that is constantly entertained becomes weak, easily influenced, easily distracted, easily controlled. It loses the ability to think independently, to observe without reacting, to decide without pressure. This is why silence is not a luxury. It is a discipline. It is the space where you regain control over your own mind. When you begin to create silence, even for short periods, something changes. At first, your thoughts may feel chaotic, scattered, restless. This is normal. It is the result of long exposure to constant stimulation. But if you remain still, if you resist the urge to escape into distraction, your mind begins to settle. The noise starts to fade, and in its place, a different kind of awareness appears. You begin to notice patterns in your thinking. You begin to recognize what truly matters. You begin to see clearly what you have been avoiding. Clarity does not arrive suddenly. It emerges gradually. It comes from observing without judgment, from allowing your thoughts to pass without attaching to them, from questioning what is real and what is imagined. Many of the problems you carry are not actual problems. They are interpretations, assumptions, fears projected into the future. When you sit in silence, you begin to separate reality from imagination. And this alone removes a significant amount of mental weight. There is also strength in learning not to react immediately. Most people are controlled by their impulses. They respond to every message, every opinion, every situation as soon as it appears. This creates a life of constant reaction, where you are always responding but rarely deciding. Silence breaks this pattern. It gives you space between stimulus and response. And in that space, you gain control. You no longer act out of habit or emotion. You act out of intention. Clarity is not about having all the answers. It is about removing what is unnecessary. When your mind is clear, decisions become simpler, actions become more direct, and your path becomes more defined. You stop overcomplicating things. You stop questioning every step. You stop being pulled in multiple directions. Instead, you move with a sense of quiet confidence, not because everything is certain, but because your mind is no longer clouded. The world will not become quieter for you. Distractions will continue. Opinions will remain. Expectations will always exist. But you do not need to engage with all of it. You can choose what you allow into your mind. You can decide what deserves your attention. And you can create moments of silence that protect your clarity. This is not about isolation. It is about control. When you make silence a habit, clarity becomes a natural state. You begin to trust your own thinking. You rely less on external validation. And you move through life with a stronger sense of direction. You are no longer searching constantly. You are observing, understanding, and acting with purpose. A strong life cannot be built on a weak foundation. No matter how much you try to improve your results, your direction, or your external success, everything will eventually collapse if what supports it is unstable. Most people focus on changing their outcomes, but they ignore the structure beneath those outcomes. They want better results without becoming stronger internally. And this is why progress never lasts. What you build without a foundation will not hold. Your foundation is not what others see. It is what you practice when no one is watching. It is your discipline, your habits, your standards, your ability to remain consistent even when there is no reward. This is where your real life is formed. Not in moments of motivation, not in short bursts of effort, but in the quiet repetition of actions that shape your character over time. If those actions are weak, your life will reflect that weakness. If they are strong, everything built on top of them becomes stable. Your body and your mind are not separate. They are reflections of each other. When your body lacks discipline, your mind follows. When your mind is scattered, your body becomes inconsistent. This is why physical habits matter more than they seem. The way you eat, the way you move, the way you rest. All of these influence your clarity, your focus, your ability to act. A neglected body leads to a distracted mind, and a distracted mind cannot build anything of value. Strength begins with control, and control begins with how you manage yourself at the most basic level. At the same time, you carry patterns from your past that continue to influence your present. Many people believe they need to heal their past before they can move forward. But this is not entirely true. The past does not need to be healed. It needs to be understood. When you understand why you think the way you think, why you react the way you react, why you repeat certain behaviors, you begin to remove their power. Without understanding, you remain controlled by patterns you do not even recognize. You live on autopilot, repeating the same cycles, wondering why nothing changes. Rebuilding your foundation requires honesty. You must be willing to look at yourself without distortion, without excuses, without avoiding what is uncomfortable. You must recognize where you are weak, where you lack discipline, where you have been avoiding responsibility. This is not about judgment. It is about awareness. Because without awareness, there can be no change. And without change, your foundation remains the same. No matter how much effort you apply on the surface, there is also the question of identity. Many of the things you believe about yourself are not truly yours. They are roles you have accepted, labels you have carried, expectations that have been placed on you over time. You act according to these roles without questioning them, and slowly they become your reality. But you are not defined by what others expect from you. You are defined by what you choose to practice consistently. When you begin to remove what is false, what remains is something more stable. more real, more aligned with who you actually are. This process is not quick, and it is not comfortable. Rebuilding requires you to let go of habits that feel familiar, even if they are harmful. It requires you to step away from patterns that have defined you for years. It requires you to act differently, even when it feels unnatural at first. But this is the cost of real change. Anything that is built with intention requires effort, patience, and repetition. As you rebuild your foundation, you will begin to notice a shift. Your actions become more consistent. Your thoughts become more structured. Your reactions become more controlled. You no longer rely on temporary motivation. You rely on systems you have created. This is what creates stability. Not external circumstances, but internal order. When your foundation is strong, you are no longer easily shaken by difficulty, by uncertainty, or by pressure. You remain steady, because what supports you is no longer weak. Most people try to change their lives by focusing on what is visible. They change goals, plans, strategies, but they leave their foundation untouched. And so, they repeat the same cycles again and again. If you want a different life, you must build it differently, not from the outside, but from the inside, because everything you experience externally is a reflection of what you have built internally. If you do not respect yourself, the world will not do it for you. This is not harsh. It is simply how people respond to what you allow. Respect is not something you demand. It is something you establish through your actions, your standards, and the way you carry yourself. When you ignore your own limits, when you accept what you know is not right for you, when you continuously place yourself in situations that diminish you, you send a clear message, not through words, but through behavior, that your needs are optional. And once that message is established, it is reinforced by everyone around you. Respect begins with boundaries, not barriers that isolate you from others, but clear lines that define what you accept and what you do not. Without boundaries, there is no structure, and without structure, there is no stability in how others interact with you. People will take what is available, not because they are necessarily harmful, but because it is human nature to move toward what is permitted. If you do not define your limits, others will define them for you, and those limits will rarely serve you. Many people struggle with this because they associate boundaries with conflict. They believe that saying no will create tension, that standing firm will lead to rejection, that protecting themselves will make them appear difficult or unkind. But the truth is, avoiding boundaries does not create peace. It creates silent resentment. You say yes when you mean no. You agree when you want to refuse. You stay when you should leave. And over time, this builds frustration that has no clear outlet. You begin to feel misunderstood, undervalued, and drained, not because others are entirely responsible, but because you have not clearly defined where you stand. To respect yourself, you must be willing to accept discomfort. There will be moments where you must say no, even when it feels easier to agree. Moments where you must step back, even when others expect you to stay. Moments where you must choose yourself, even when it is not understood. This is not selfish. It is necessary, because every time you choose comfort over truth, you weaken your position. And every time you choose truth over comfort, you strengthen it. There is also a deeper level to self-respect, the way you treat your own time and energy. If you constantly give your attention to things that do not matter, if you allow your focus to be interrupted without control, If you do not take your own priorities seriously, you are not respecting yourself. You are treating your own life as something flexible, something that can be adjusted for anything and anyone. And when you treat your life this way, others will follow that example. Respect is built through consistency. It is not something you establish once. It is something you reinforce through repeated action. Every time you maintain your standards, every time you follow through on what you say, every time you hold your boundaries without apology, you strengthen the way you are perceived, not only by others, but by yourself. And this internal respect is the most important, because it shapes how you act in every situation. When you begin to respect yourself, your decisions change. You become more selective with your time, more aware of your energy, more intentional with your actions. You stop chasing approval because you no longer need it to validate your choices. You stop over-explaining because you understand that your decisions do not require constant justification. You move differently, not with aggression, but with quiet certainty. People will notice this shift. Some will adjust. Some will resist. Some may even distance themselves. This is natural. When you change your standards, you change the dynamics of your relationships. But this is not a loss. It is a correction. The people and situations that remain will be those that align with the version of you that you are building, not the version you have outgrown. Choosing yourself is often misunderstood as selfishness, but it is the opposite. It is the foundation of a stable and grounded life. When you respect yourself, you are no longer dependent on external validation. You are no longer easily influenced. You are no longer pulled in every direction. You act with intention. You give with awareness. And you engage with the world from a position of strength rather than need. Without self-respect, everything becomes unstable. Your decisions are inconsistent. Your boundaries are unclear. Your direction is uncertain. But when you establish it firmly, everything begins to align. Not because the world changes, but because you no longer allow yourself to move without clarity. Your life is not shaped in a single moment. It is shaped in the quiet repetition of daily choices, not the dramatic decisions, not the rare turning points, but the small actions you repeat without thinking, what you tolerate, what you prioritize, what you ignore, what you return to again and again. This is what builds your life. And whether you realize it or not, each day you are making the same decision. Either you choose yourself or you abandon yourself. Most people wait for a moment of transformation. They believe change will come suddenly, that one day they will feel ready, focused, and completely certain. But this is an illusion. There is no perfect moment. There is no sudden shift that replaces years of inconsistent behavior. What exists instead is a series of opportunities, small and often unnoticed, where you are given the chance to act differently. The problem is not the absence of opportunity. It is the failure to recognize it when it appears. Choosing yourself is not a feeling. It is a practice. It is not something you do once. It is something you repeat. It is in the decision to wake up and follow through, even when you do not feel motivated. It is in the choice to protect your time instead of giving it away without thought. It is in the ability to remain focused when distraction is easily available. These moments may seem small, but they carry weight because they define the direction of your life over time. There will always be resistance. Your mind will search for comfort. It will suggest easier paths. It will question your decisions when they become difficult. This is natural. The purpose is not to eliminate resistance, but to act despite it. When you continue to choose what is right instead of what is easy, you begin to build something that cannot be taken from you, a sense of internal stability that does not depend on circumstances. Consistency is what separates intention from reality. Many people know what they should do. They understand what is required, but they fail in the execution. Not because they lack knowledge, but because they lack consistency. They act when they feel like it. They stop when it becomes uncomfortable. They start again when motivation returns. This cycle keeps them in place, always moving, but never progressing. To break this pattern, you must remove dependence on how you feel. Your actions must be guided by decision, not emotion. There is also value in simplicity. You do not need to control everything. You do not need to perfect every aspect of your life. What you need is alignment between what you know and what you do. When your actions match your understanding, you create a sense of order. When they do not, you create conflict within yourself. This internal conflict is what drains you, what creates doubt, what weakens your confidence. But when you act in alignment, even in small ways, you begin to trust yourself again. Gratitude plays a role in this process, not as a passive feeling, but as a form of awareness. When you recognize what you have, you reduce the tendency to chase what is unnecessary. You become less distracted by comparison, less affected by what others are doing, more grounded in your own path. This does not remove ambition, it refines it. You pursue what matters, not what appears impressive. Each day presents the same question, not in words, but in choices. Will you act with intention, or will you fall back into habit? Will you protect your energy, or will you give it away without thought? Will you follow through, or will you delay? These questions do not appear once. They appear repeatedly, and your answers define your direction. Over time, these choices compound. Small acts of discipline become structure. Structure becomes stability, and stability becomes strength. This is how a life is built, not through intensity, but through repetition, not through occasional effort, but through consistent action. You are not waiting for your life to change. You are creating it, whether you are aware of it or not. Every decision contributes to that creation. Every moment of action or inaction moves you in a direction. And if you continue to choose yourself, not once, but every day, the result becomes unavoidable. Your life begins to reflect that choice.